Hey loves, welcome back to my channel. My name is Brittany. For those of you who are new, today I decided to pop on camera and just share some advice and tips with you guys prior to starting nursing school. For those of you who do not know, I am due to schedule what? No. For those of you who do not know, I am due to start nursing school in less than 2.5 weeks. So these are things that I have done leading up until nursing school and just preparing myself in general. So if you are interested, please keep watching. So my number one tip or advice is to establish a solid support system. This is an exciting time of your life, and there's nothing worse than having like a Debbie Downer or a negative Nancy in your corner. You don't want anyone like that in your corner at all. So make sure that you get make sure you just pick people who is understanding, pick people who understand that this is going to be a huge adjustment in your life, and just make sure you pick people who is going to understand the process with you. Nursing school, from what I have read and from what I have seen and from what I have heard, is not easy. It is a lot of demand on your life in general. So just make sure you have that support system who's going to be there, who's going to understand, who's going to back you and do whatever it takes to make sure that you get through the program. Now, no, it might not be easy or peaceful, but you just need those type of people in your corner, whether it's your best friend, significant other, things like that. Believe it or not, there are people out here who pretend to be in your corner just to wait on you to fail, just so that they can point the finger and be like, yeah, I told you so, or I knew she wasn't gonna make it. So if you have any of those people, or you know people who have done that in the past, just stop the bus and drop them off at the nearest bus stop, because we not here for that. We want all positive energy, all good vibes, because we are trying to get through this nursing program in one piece. The second tip or advice is to make sure that nursing is what you want to do. It's nothing like completing a program or getting halfway through the program and then deciding like, no, this is not for me. So get your feet wet and maybe start off somewhere, that's underneath nursing, if you are unsure as to if you want to at all be a nurse. And I say that because throughout high school, and even after high school, I was at STNA. And although a STNA isn't a nurse, you still kind of get you get an idea of how it is to be a nurse. And back then I was so overwhelmed. I mean, I was even in college for nursing back then, and I was so overwhelmed. I was just like, you know what? No, I don't want to be a nurse. Yes, since middle school, I have always wanted to be a nurse or a doctor, but the medical field is not for me. So I did drop out of college because back then that was just something I just didn't want no parts in. So as I got older and I started trying out different careers, I knew that it was a gift for me to work around people. I have amazing communication skills. I, build a good rapport with people and patients in general. So I knew no, I need to get back in the medical field. Yes, this is fun. Yes, this is nice, but my passion is medical. My passion is being in the medical field. My passion is helping others. I have a big heart, so helping people is something that I always knew that I wanted to do. So I went back to school and I became a medical assistant, and I did end up landing my dream job, which was at Ohio State University, and I worked there for years. And what really validated me becoming a nurse was when I worked with some of the best doctors, and they used to push Brittany, go to school to be a nurse. Brittany, go to school to become a provider, which whatever you do, we're gonna make sure that that's paid for. So that really kind of gave me confidence and really assured me, like, yes, Brittany, you're in the right field, you're doing the right thing. Either A, go for your nursing, or B, go ahead and be a doctor. But at that time, I was already like 28, 29, pushing, 30. And I'm like, I don't want to go and be a doctor because then I have to do 10 years of schooling. And then by that time I'll be 40. And no, so I did choose to do nursing. And I chose to do that based off getting my feet wet. So again, if you guys are not sure if you really want to be a nurse, I do suggest becoming like a STNA, a patient care tech, a medical assistant, phlebotomist, anything that's like, gonna show you firsthand what it's like to be a nurse. So make sure that you are sure that you want to be a nurse before you waste your time, your instructor time, all that. Third tip or advice that I have for you guys is to make sure that you are prepared and ready prior to school. That means getting supplies, getting books, getting uniforms, watching YouTube videos, asking people who was already a nursing student, what are the essential things that you need. There is nothing like showing up for the first day of school and you're just not prepared. Like you don't have your books, you don't have your supplies, you're asking people to borrow stuff. Like if you're that type of person, like a very last minute, not prepared, always tiptoeing around things, then this is not gonna work. Like it's not gonna work, and that's gonna set the foundation for how people perceive you as. Because if I'm an instructor and I have a student coming in who's not prepared and ready, automatically I'm gonna be like, she's not cut out for this. Like she's not gonna last, she's not prepared, she's not, on top of things. So just make sure that you're prepared and ready, because when it's time to start school, it's go time. Like we're not pausing life so that we can rewind, so that you can get it together to fast forward and then press play again. We're not doing that. So just make sure you have all your ducks in a row prior to starting classes, or you're just going to be that last minute person who's always going to be a last minute person who's going to ultimately fail. So make sure you get yourself together and be prepared. Tip number 4 or advice is kind of following up with number 3. If you have children or plants, really, Brittany, if you have children or pets, make sure that things are allotted for them. Make sure that you have set up babysitting, set up daycare, dog care, whatever. Make sure that you have already purchased school things, school supplies, paid tuition, things like that. I have 3 children. I have a high schooler, elementary baby student, and then I have a baby. So you better believe back in January when I applied for nursing school, even before I knew that I got accepted, I was already in the mindset like, okay, I know that things are gonna be rocky, so let's make sure that my daughter who's going to 4th grade is taken care of. Let's make sure that all the uniforms and supplies are taken care of for all of my children. Let me make sure that babysitting and all of that is arranged for my baby, because there may be times when I don't get home until late because I need to study. So things like when things like that, you need to set in place, things that needs to happen so that things are taken care of, because you don't want to be that person who's like, oh no, I can't do study group because no one's like, I have no one to watch my kids, or no, I can't do this because I have to get my kids. Like, no, get that stuff set up so that when that time comes, you're not rushing, which goes back to like last minute. You're not rushing, or you're not thinking of a plan, or you're not on your phone calling people to see who can watch your kids or who can pick them up, things like that. So just make sure that your children or your pets are taken care of. That way, when it comes time for school and crunch time and studying, you can go in and study with an open mind and a free spirit, knowing that your children or your pets are taken care of. Number 5 and tip 6 kind of go hand in hand, but we're going to start with tip number 5 or advice. Make sure that you just clear your head, do a self-mental check just to prepare yourself for school. So if you have things that you are worried about, take care of that. If you have things that you're stressing about, take care of that. If you know that you suffer from anxiety and depression, go see a PCP just to see if you may need something to keep your nerves down while in nursing school, but also to make sure that you just, you know, have your psyche intact and your mental intact, just so that you're stable enough to go through this journey. Because again, I have watched several YouTube videos, talked to several people, and I'm telling you, this is not dancing in the daisies or, you know, putting your feet in the sand. This is not that. This is like, you know, surfing a wave or rock climbing or zip lining. You know, this is hard. So don't think that this is dancing with the daisies or blowing the dandelions. This isn't that. So just make sure your mind is right and you're focused prior to starting nursing school. Which leads me to number 6. Sorry, everything is on my laptop. Enjoy the time that you have now prior to nursing school, which goes hand in hand with number 1, building a strong support system. Right now you have time to be free. Yes, you're preparing for nursing school, but at the same time, while you have free time, you kind of want to make up for the time that you're not gonna have as far as personal. So if you have a significant other, schedule a special in-house dinner date, movie night, something like that. If you have best friends, do carry in, talk it out, just enjoy that, because once nursing school start, you're not going to have the luxury of just kicking it or going out, because this ain't that. And you don't want to have that mentality like, oh my God, yes, I got through Monday and Friday, now Saturday is kick it time, we turning up all weekend. No, like if your mind is still there, you probably should not be considering nursing school. You know what I mean? Not saying don't do it, but you have to have a mature mind to build a solid foundation to get through nursing school. So just enjoy the time with your significant other, with friends, and hopefully they're supportive enough and they understand that once you go to nursing school, this is not that type of party. And again, most of us are out of high school, so that partying life for some of us is like over. For me, it's been over since I was 23. Like, I had my fun in my, you know, my late teenage years, my early 20s, and it got boring. So for me, it's just like, okay, everything's up. I am ready for nursing school. So I hope that these tips and my advice help some of you guys. If you guys have any extra tips or advice, please leave it in the comment box below so that all of my other viewers can kind of look down there for reference as well. And until next time, I'll see you in my another video.